Hey guys, today we are going to move on to our next coding exercise, which is we're going to be flipping a quarter 100 times, and we're going to tally up the number of heads and the number of tails, and we're going to print out the total number of each. So basically, I went ahead and did the pseudocoding already to kind of save time on the video, and I already imported the library random and defined variable quarter. That way, we could just jump right into the code. So here is my pseudocode here. Ideally, you want to write your pseudocode before you look at mine. That way you can kind of see what you were able to accomplish on your own. And basically, then check with the answer to see if you were close or if you were way off, what you were doing wrong. So let's get to it. So we imported random, we defined what a quarter is, and basically what we want to do is we're going to write a for loop to loop through 100 flips. So for number in range 100, we want to call random.choice. So we want to count the number of flips. So we want to name a variable flip, and we want to randomly choose for heads or tails in a quarter, right? So that kind of makes sense. When you flip it, you want to randomly choose whether it's heads or tails. So now that we defined a flip, and we know that we're going through 100 times, for a number in range 100, flip equals random.choice quarter. Right now, what? If it's heads, we want to do something. If it's tails, we want to do something else. So we want to use a condition statement if flip equals heads, what do we want to do? We want to add it to a counter, right? Because we want to count the number of total heads. So there's actually one thing I'm missing here, which is I forgot to start a counter for heads. Head count equals 0, and tail count equals 0. All right, so now that we have our counter, we go back to the loop. If the flip equals heads, what do we want to do? We want to add it to our head count. So how are we going to do that? We are going to write head count equals head count plus 1. Right, so basically we're redefining the number of heads as we flip it. Right, so if we flip it once and equals 1, we're going to add it to 0, which is going to be 1. Then if it flips again and it's heads, we're going to add 1 to 1, which is going to be 2, which is going to tally up a total of heads. So if the flip equals heads, we define head count as head count plus 1. All right, or else if flip equals tails, we want to do the same thing, right? We want to add it to the tail count. Tail count plus 1. Now let's see our pseudocode. We added it. If it lands on heads, if it lands on tails. Now what we have to do is we have to print the total. So let's do that. Print the total number of heads is colon plus head count. Plus head count. Then total number of tails is tail count. So let's see if it works. Right, so we have an error here. What is the error? Expected indent block error. So basically, I wasn't supposed to put this if statement here. That was my mistake. See, you're gonna make mistakes. It's all right. Or else the flip equals tails. Yeah, I always do that. I always think that we're doing two if statements, but all right. So, all right, 13 can only concatenate string. Well, let's just do simple head count and tail count. How about that? There you go. So 58 and 42. That means you have 58 heads and 42 tails. Let's do it again. 60, 40, right? So you can see that we are continuously getting different numbers. Now, 50, 50. So there you go. That's the code. And as you can see, I'm making mistakes along the way. I'm not perfect on the first time through, and you're not going to be perfect on the first time through. No one is. You're going to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Give yourself a chance to be a beginner. And I hope to see you guys in the next video.